We're in California with Mazda to drive the new CX-90.
This one is the PHEV. Let's go for a ride.
Got it in sport mode.
Everything lights up. Electric motor, gasoline engine, all comes together with this Mazda CX-90. What's under the hood or under the floor of this thing, Andrea?
It has a 17.8 kilowatt hour battery with 42 kilometers, 26 miles of range. It has a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder and a 68 kilowatt electric motor with an 8-speed automatic transmission. It gets a combined 323 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. Rear biased all-wheel drive and premium fuel is recommended, but you can use regular.
Couple of things. That horsepower number is when everything comes together, like Andrea just did. And you might have noticed the range. Did you notice the range? That's coming up in our hot topic about halfway through the video, so make sure you stick around for that. But right now we're going to get into what do you get with this plug-in hybrid.
The base trim comes with a 12.3-inch LCD display, a 10.25-inch center display with Mazda Connect, wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, an 8-speaker Mazda Harmonic Acoustics audio system, heated front manual seats, black cloth upholstery, keyless entry, and Mazda connected services for a 2-year trial. In the US, the base model comes with power front seats, a moonroof, a power liftgate, and leather-trimmed upholstery in greige and black.
Good news, this XC90 PHEV comes standard with a heat pump.
It's got MI drive. What can we put it in?
Got to put it in S for subscribe. And if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Most importantly, hit the notification bell, but also follow on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea to see what's going on behind the scenes. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button.
So you've got 4 drive modes: normal, sport, EV, and then off-road.
And subscribe.
And subscribe, of course. So normal mode is the default mode. It always goes back to normal mode, and which is a combination of the gas and the battery working together. And then EV mode, I think it's best in the city, because if you put it in EV mode on the highway, it defaults right back to normal mode. It wants to stay in that pure EV mode.
All right, so when you get up in the morning and you start your new Mazda and you drive away in normal mode, it will prioritize EV, and then as the battery starts to deplete, it'll start engaging the gasoline engine more, and then when it has 20% battery capacity, it just switches to pure hybrid mode, like a regular hybrid system. So it's quite clever the way it works. Me, I'm the kind of person, I think the car is very smart. I would just leave it in normal and drive it and enjoy it.
I think if you're in this city and you're kind of in stop and go traffic, I think that actually is a great time to put it in EV mode. So Zach and I disagree a bit on that. I think that I would drive it a lot in EV mode for the type of driving I do every day.
All right, now we did some tests on the highway. If you have it in EV mode and then you want to do like a pass a truck or something, it takes about 2.5 seconds for it to all wake up. First of all, it has to wake up the gasoline engine, and then it has to say, oh, I gotta drop a couple of gears. So from full throttle to actual pass maneuver, about 2.5 seconds. That's only an EV. In the other modes, it's much quicker. So we are rolling on the all-new platform that is a rear bias all-wheel drive, their large platform. So this was developed to also take an inline 6-cylinder for the regular gas model. By the way, we have a full video on that. We'll put the card up here. Please watch that. This is different though. This has got the 4-cylinder and the plug-in hybrid working together, but the driving dynamics and the suspension is similar, and I'm really impressed with this.
Me too. It just feels so planted. The steering is precise. It's a little bit heavier, which is what we would expect from Mazda, but boy, it takes those corners with ease. The cabin remains quiet.
Quiet. Listen to that.
Even on the California highway, it is quite quiet.
Yeah, so California has the concrete highways with all those dividers, and it just gobbles all of that up. And we're rolling on the larger 21-inch wheels on this one, and it's doing a really good job. In comparison, though, Andrea, to the CX-5 and the CX-50, the suspension's a little bit softer, but for a larger family hauler, I think it's the right balance.
And the 8-speed automatic transmission, which is new for Mazda, shifts beautifully. It has a sharp shifting feel to it, and it's missing the torque converter, but they've added a wet clutch.
All right, let's get into the looks of this thing. So yes, it has a family resemblance to other vehicles, but it's kind of chunky. I'm kind of warming to the look of it. Some angles of it, it looks a little bit bulbous, maybe from the back 3/4.
I think that's the biggest complaint about the design for some people, is that they just don't like the look of the rear. I think that the long hood in the front looks sharp. And this comes standard with LED headlights, LED rear combination lights, standard 19-inch wheels, available 21-inch. We've got roof rails, a high gloss black grille, and then you've got black moldings on the wheel arches. This has got 8.1 inches of ground clearance.
But what I absolutely love is the interior fit, finish, materials. The way they put this all together, it's really nicely done with a large, wide center console. And the best thing about this is that they know there's people like me and Andrea that really like switches. All of the HVAC controls for heated seats, everything is not in a screen or not in a dial. It's right there underneath the center console.
One thing I really like is the seating position of this. Everything is kind of driver focused in here. It's easy to access. I like the fact that I sit up and over the dash. I think that the comfort level in here is much better than the CX-5 and the CX-50, but I do find that the seats are still fairly firm, especially the passenger seat, because it doesn't offer lumbar support. This feels a little bit better on the driver's side.
But the overall layout in here, all the things that you really don't get in some other brands, like beautiful soft touch dash pad, it just feels upscale, like you're getting your money's worth.
Yes, it offers a very premium feel. Even at the center console, it's all soft touch materials. And guess what? No piano black in here. It's a matte black finish, or you've got a wood trim. And also, this is the top trim, so you've got the white dashboard in here. It just looks really sharp. So we've got a new shifter in here, and it is different than what we're used to from Mazda for sure. I actually don't mind it, but you've got to hold a button to shift forward and back, so in drive mode to reverse. And if you want to put it in park, you also have to hold the button, move it into reverse, and then to the left to park.
And still in the center, you have the control wheel to connect to the screen. You have the volume knob there. It's very premium, and I like the fact that they kept it.
Let's get into the trims a bit. In Canada, we highly recommend going up one from the base model. That's where you're going to add features like the power front seats, a heated steering wheel, panoramic sunroof, and the hands-free powered tailgate. Now, that trim still comes with wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which I think actually is a miss from Mazda. I think that the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto should be standard. You've got to move up to the top trim in Canada to get that feature, along with the 360 camera, ventilated front seats, and heated rear seats. That top trim also adds the larger 12.3-inch display screen. You also get Napa leather interior. That one up from the base model, it comes with leatherette.
In the United States, if you go one up from the base model, that's where it adds wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The middle premium trim adds the panoramic sunroof, a hands-free power liftgate, wireless charger, and a 1500-watt accessory outlet, navigation, and front and rear parking sensors. If you get the top trim in the United States, that's where it adds the power folding exterior mirrors, the larger 12.3-inch center display screen, Napa leather in white or black, heated steering wheel, ventilated front seats, heated second row seats, and a 360-degree monitor.
Now, there are different configurations that you can choose from in this plug-in hybrid, whether you get an 8-passenger or a 7-passenger. The center console is a removable center console on this model.
The second row, pretty much the same as the previous model. It has plenty of legroom and headroom, and of course the seats slide fore and aft to make room for the third row. Getting into the third row, you slide the seat back forward and climb on in. It's just a little bit bigger than the previous model, but you know what? The pitch of the seat bottom makes it quite comfortable. You recline back and you have good enough headroom and legroom.
Comparing the CX-90 to other 3-row plug-in hybrids like the Kia Sorento and Mitsubishi Outlander, front row legroom at 41.7 inches is about the same as both. Second row legroom falls short at 39.4 inches. Both the Sorento and Outlander offer a little bit more space. Third row legroom at 30.4 inches isn't huge, but offers more than the Sorento at 29.6 inches and the Outlander at 18.7 inches.
When you lift the power tailgate, of course, when you have the third row up, you don't get an enormous amount of space, but the third row you can fold down manually, and then it opens up quite a bit of space. And will you look at that? It comes with a real temporary spare tire.
Space behind the third row comes in at 14.9 cubic feet, which is a little bit more than the Kia at 12.6 cubic feet and the Outlander at 11.7 cubic feet. Overall cargo space for the CX-90 is 74.2 cubic feet, which is less than the Sorento, but more than the Outlander.
Fancy blue cups. Let's get into it.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Never had Bluestone Lane coffee before. There you go.
Tasty.
Your questions from Instagram.
How much more cargo space and overall room does it have compared to the old CX-9? Good question.
Well, it is bigger. It has a longer wheelbase, and priorities have been put towards the third row. But yeah, it's wider. You notice that, right?
It's wider, so there's more hip room, shoulder room in this. This feels really open. So for front row legroom, when you compare the two, the CX-90 has about half an inch more front row legroom, or just over half an inch more. Second row legroom is the same, but it was always fairly spacious in the CX-9.
That was never a problem, yeah.
No. Third row legroom, just over half an inch more third row legroom now in the CX-90. And then cargo space behind the third row for the CX-90 is 14.9 cubic feet, and the CX-9 is 14.4 cubic feet.
Very close, right?
Yeah, really close.
So what they did is they prioritized things like headroom and hip and shoulder room.
Yeah.
These seats are an inch over from the CX-9 on both sides, and you notice that with a large center tunnel here.
Yeah.
It feels very open. The other thing is that you probably notice on the outside, the greenhouse is very upright, and this outward visibility in the green, it feels very open and big. It's actually really well done.
Very bright. Can you check how wide the sunroof opening is? In the CX-50, the sunroof barely opens.
Where is it?
Right here?
I'm gonna hit it again. Okay, so it goes back.
So you've got a panoramic sunroof.
That's
but
how far it opens.
yeah, not a lot. Similar to what the CX-50 is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all you get.
That's all you got.
Sorry for all the bings and the bongs. I'm going to turn. Okay, turn that off before she starts talking to Navi.
We put out a lot of content each week on the Motormouth YouTube channel, and it's super easy to find.
All you do is you go to the YouTube search bar and type in Motormouth. That's the name of the channel. Great name. And then you type in the brand you're looking for. In this case, it's Mazda or Mazda. It's spelled the same, and all our videos pop up. It's that easy.
The CX-90 looks gorgeous, especially love the white interior. But I have a question about the rear seat. It looks fine for 2 passengers, but must be tight for 3 passengers in the 8-seat configurations. How does Mazda manage to get a 3-passenger seat back there, or is that 2-passenger seat quite roomy?
Okay, so the seat is the same width, obviously, if it's 2 or 3. It's just with the higher performance models, they sort of sculpt out 2 seats.
Yes.
And then with the 7 or 8 passenger, it's just sort of a bench. And here's us getting in the back.
So I would say that 2 adults fit okay back there, but to actually put somebody in that middle seat might be a bit tough unless they were really quite small.
It's for kids.
Yeah,
Come
3
on.
children across the back. No problem.
We all know when somebody says, who's going in the third row, it's the smallest or the youngest go in the back, not the biggest and the oldest,
No.
you know? Grandpa ain't going back there.
No, but it's not bad for a third row. I have to say, it's pretty good.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
I've been waiting close to a year to get a Highlander Hybrid Platinum, and now I'm considering switching to the CX-90 PHEV GT instead. Do we know if this plug-in hybrid model qualifies for the $5,000 government incentive or $2,500?
So in the Canadian market, if you want to get the full $5,000 rebate, it used to be the battery had to be a certain size, and then they changed it this year to actually how far it could go on the battery. And that number is 50 kilometers. So what's the number? 42
Kilometers, yeah.
42 kilometers. So it's just eight kilometers shy. And that means you don't get as much money of our tax dollars.
No, $2,500 is what this qualifies for. That's the federal EV rebate in Canada. Now, of course, there might be some more rebates in participating provinces, so you'll have to check that depending on where you live. I spoke to Mazda about this range and said, why so little, Mazda? I was kind of hoping for over 50 kilometers. They said, well, there's a lot involved in this. They want to keep the battery so that it's not so large. If it's larger, where do you put it? It weighs more. They were really working on the dynamics and performance of this vehicle. Mazda's done the research. They said most people will do 40 kilometers a day. I disagree. I'd like a little bit more, especially in colder temperatures.
You know what? They're saying that because that's what they've got. Trust me, if they had 50 kilometers, they say everybody does 50. If they had 60, they'd say everybody did 60. Here's the reality. The one that wins in this, if you want 3 rows, and there aren't very many, we're going to get to that if in the comparison in a moment, is the Outlander PHEV, and it gets 61 kilometers of range. So it can be done, but this is a bigger product, and it has, you know, a bit more space, so it's always a compromise.
There are a few things that we forgot to mention earlier, one being the Bose sound system. That's available on the top trim. The graphics on this display screen are quite crisp and clear, and also air vents are in the third row, so I know that's one thing that people are looking for.
All right, you probably want to know how long does this take to charge on the different levels and the pricing and a whole lot more in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. The base trim starts at just under $55,000, and the top GT model is just over $64,000. In the US, the base model is just under $47,500, and the top Premium Plus is just under $57,000 US. Here's the fuel economy. The CX-90 PHEV earns a combined city highway rating of 4.2 liters equivalent per 100 kilometers. That's 56 miles per gallon equivalent. With the battery depleted, it gets 9.4 liters per 100 kilometers. That's 25 miles per gallon combined.
This PHEV has a 7.2 kilowatt onboard charger. With a 240 volt outlet, it takes 90 minutes to charge the CX-90 from 20 to 80%. With 120 volts, 6.5 hours. This plug-in, like most others, is not compatible with a DC fast charger. The towing capacity for this PHEV is 3,500 pounds. The warranty is 3 years with unlimited kilometers in Canada, or 3 years and 36,000 miles in the United States. Okay, we're at the beginning stages of having larger 3-row plug-in hybrid vehicles. There's not that many, and only 2 competitors that are in the non-premium space. So let's get into the comparison.
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid with a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder and an electric motor, 51 kilometers, 32 miles of range. It has a combined 261 horsepower and a starting price just under $47,000.
The Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV with a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder and a twin-motor PHEV system. It has 61 kilometers or 38 miles of range. It has a combined 248 horsepower and a starting price of $46,500.
Moving to a premium brand, the Lincoln Aviator plug-in hybrid. It has a twin turbocharged V6 with 494 horsepower. It gets 34 kilometers, 21 miles of range, and has a starting price just under $85,500.
The Volvo XC90 T8 Recharge with 53 kilometers or 36 miles of range. It has a combined 455 horsepower and a starting price of $62,500.
So there are 4 3-row plug-in hybrids for you to consider.
Lightning round, 2 things we like to see improved.
I'm thrilled Mazda has come out with a plug-in hybrid.
And this thing actually hustles down the road pretty well.
What I'd like to see is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as a standard feature.
Seat comfort, it's better, it's not there yet.
Yeah. So that's our first drive of the CX-90 plug-in hybrid.
We also have a totally separate video on the new CX-90 with the inline turbocharged 6-cylinder engine. The card is here, click it anytime. It'd be great if you could watch it.